Hi there, this is the second of our series, Finding Faith in Crisis. I think as a counsellor, sometimes I get people referred to me that would call themselves Christians, and some people I don't. And I've spent a lot of time talking to people about faith. And one thing that's become really, really obvious when you talk to people is that lots of things got there first, that they come into these sort of conversations with an awful lot of a kind of, we were talking in the last one about my prejudice against Christianity, but I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about what Christianity is, and I'd like to just talk a bit about the difference between what I see as religion and what I see as Christianity. Now, to me, religion is a dogma or a creed or a set of belief systems, of which there are key, as you know, world religions. You know the main ones, and it is an honest journey that man makes to try and discover the spiritual world around them. And I think it's really important that we honour and respect people with their religion, because every journey that we take, if it's authentic, is really important to us. And therefore, this is why me and John are really careful in Bottled Up to make sure that you feel respected no matter where you're coming from in terms of your religion. But to me, Christianity is something different to religion. To me, Christianity is about a relationship, and in the first video that I talked about, that's what happened when I came out of this prayer. I felt as if I had connected with something which I now call somebody, that there was a God of love, and that's really different to thinking and believing in a way of doing things. And my observation about religion is that we can become really, really kind of protective about the things that we have put our trust in, and there's a huge amount of arguments about it. And really, I don't like getting into any of those arguments. To me, if you've met God, then to me God is love, and it makes a difference. And even before I would have called myself a Christian, there were one or two people in my life that I really respected and I really kind of liked, because they had something about them that I knew was caring and authentic. And that's why, if you remember the last story, I called the Christians, because despite all my scorn and acrimony to them, I'd realised that they cared enough to keep coming back and keep reaching out to me. So that, to me, is the difference between a Christianity and just a religion, is that if you are a Christian, you have a relationship with a God of love. And in my opinion, if that relationship goes deep, then it will show. One of the greatest misconceptions about Christianity is that if you've been, or you've called yourself a Christian, say for 20 years, that faith will be better and deeper than if you called yourself a Christian for about a year. But actually that isn't true. The depth of Christianity is about relationship. It is about allowing the God of love to come and indwell within you. And I've met people who call themselves Christian for a year that show more evidence of them indwelling and being in relationship with someone who loves them, because that love will begin to show in their lives, not just with their attitude to God, but their attitude to the world around them. But I've also met some people that have called themselves Christians for 20 years and they're judgmental, they're lacking in compassion, and it has caused a great deal of offence, I think, and misunderstanding about what Christianity is. Now, when I was a mum, and my kids were small, I mean, I'm still a mum, but my kids have left home now, but they used to kind of play mummies and daddies. So they'd dress up in all these clothes and they'd have my kind of shoes on and they'd slop around the garden and they'd come out with kind of mummy and daddy kind of phrases. And me and Steve used to howl with laughter, and we thought it was really cute, because we knew that it wasn't real. They were just pretending to be mummy and daddy, but actually they were kids. Now, you get this dynamic going on with people that call themselves Christians, actually, and I think if God looks down, he sees them kind of trying to walk around in Jesus type of clothes, and actually they are actually very immature as Christians. Now, when you know what's going on, and I do try, if I find people that I think are immature as Christians, I try to remember that image and understand it's just because they've not matured yet in love, and I try to be affectionate rather than judgmental. But if you don't get that, then some people you come along, you kind of know. People who don't call themselves Christians, they can smell hypocrisy at about 2 feet. They know it's not real, and therefore people are offended and they kind of back off. And if you don't sense authenticity, then probably it means that the faith of the person concerned has not developed in love. Now, it might have developed in lots and lots of knowledge. They might have been going to Bible school, church, or whatever. But I think the real test of Christianity is what actually the Bible calls the fruits, whether they have love, whether they have peace, whether they have joy, whether they're evidential of having a relationship with someone who calls themselves love. And God chose the 2 key relationships, and this is very biblical, and it's an image that came out of the Bible. This wasn't my idea, but those 2 powerful images were a parent and a child, and a bride and a bridegroom. And those were the images that were used to describe the sort of love that God has for his world. And okay, they can be dysfunctional and they can go wrong, but when you get it right, when you see a mum with a child and the deep, deep love, or a dad with that child, and that they will lay down their lives in an instinct for the children they love. And then when you see a bride and a groom in that full flush of love, and again, how they'll lay down their lives for each other, that's the nearest we get to understanding who God is. And if you want to know, if I talk with someone who doesn't understand anything about Christianity, I just usually say, well, who do you love the most? Who loves you the most? And then whoever that is, and I say, well, that's your God bringer. That gives you some idea how much you are loved. So I just wanted to say that, because again, if you've been really put off, then it's unlikely that you've been put off by Jesus dwelling in people, because he was a fantastic person on earth. Even people that don't call themselves Christians agree that Jesus was an amazing person. And a Christian really is someone with whom the Spirit of Jesus dwells. Believe me, you will spot it if it's real. And if you haven't come across it, then you've come across the parody rather than the truth. And I think it's really important that you understand that if you want to take the journey that me and John are describing and have gone on. I hope that's been helpful. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.